good to be back again. It's Africans in Diaspora Online Network. It's been campaign and campaign for the upcoming elections. We just have 12 days to go. In fact, 11 days to go. And I hope we're all ready. As I always said, I'll be doing this from now to that time. And I join you all to follow the steps. Let's make it right. I'll be saying let's make it right. This is what we need to do. Those in diaspora, I call upon you. Let's do the right thing. Let's save our country. This is the time, really time, this opportunity for us we have right now. Let's make it right. For me, I would say vote Peter Obi, vote Obi Dati, Papa, Mama, Peking. This is electioning, this campaigning. I'm campaigning right now. Vote Papa, Mama, Peking. Okay? We have just, in fact, 11 days to go. Okay? Just under 2 weeks. Just under 2 weeks. So, guys, let's make it happen. I'm going to be showing, the interview Peter Obi had with Channels TV. I'll just play it so that we'll listen to. I mean, this guy is intelligent. The way he answers questions, everything. So many. I trust assume with his questions. So Peter Obi is God sent. I said this is a movement. This is beyond our. This is a divine movement to rescue Nigeria from all these from the bad leadership. To make things happen again. Last time I showed you when he came to Lagos, how that young boy, was so happy, as if he was, as if Peter Obi is his savior, He was so happy. It shows that all we need is we need some Nigerian people. They are really in need of somebody to rescue them from what is happening right now. They need somebody to rescue them because the Nigeria we have right now, the situation is so pathetic. It's so pathetic. So, as I said, as you watch, please kindly share the video, like, make comment, then follow us on our Facebook page, and also subscribe to our YouTube channel and turn on notification bell in case we are in. Okay, so we need to do that. All right. So now I will play the video right now. Let's watch. Okay, let's watch. All right, let's play the video.
Who is a two-term governor of Anambra State. He was the running mate to Mr. Atiku Abubakar on the ticket of the People's Democratic Party in 2019 presidential election. Mr. Peter Obi is live with us on the program from Lagos. Thank you so much, Mr. Obi, for joining us tonight. And I must say, perhaps we should begin the conversation tonight on the issue of security, especially the news is coming in about the 3 persons that have been released by terrorists who abducted them after the train attack in Kaduna. Give us a sense of what this means. And some of the stories that we are hearing also of the federal government asking unity schools to be shut down because of security concerns. What are your thoughts about the issue of security? Because anyone who wants to be Nigeria's next president will be faced on the solutions to resolving this security problem. For you, what is at the heart of this problem, and how would you resolve it should you be elected president?
Well, Shehu, thank you once more for inviting me quite frankly, when I heard on the issue of unity schools, especially around Abuja, the capital, it was very, very depressing. This security situation had become a complete worrisome situation for everybody concerned. I feel the government, federal government, should do more. For me, I've said it repeatedly, that if I have the opportunity, we will deal with the situation head on. There's so many things that we need to put in place, which I might not be able to disclose openly in order to ensure that we secure the country. It is critical. It is the number one thing that anybody needs to do if you want to still call this country a country that people should say they are proud of to be citizen of. First is that I talked about the issue of pulling people out of poverty. The more you pull people out of poverty, the more you reduce the criminality. It is critical, it's important. As long as the economy continues to head south, like we're seeing today, your criminality will be rising. Further to that, you need to put in place other measures, ensure that you have proper manpower and proper equipment. There's so many other things that I've been able to learn, and if applied, we will be able to tackle it, and most importantly, the political will to deal with it decisively. But there are not things I intend to disclose in an open interview like this. But I assure you that it will be decisive and immediate.
Let me ask a follow-up on that. And my concern would be when you say that it will be decisive. A lot of things as far as buying equipment is concerned, procurement in that sense are not usually something that could be immediate. When you make policy decisions also that has to do with lawmaking to reform the way and manner we fight security, for example, assuming you're looking at the area of state police, that will take some time. So those ones may not be immediate. But could it be an idea of allowing other countries that have successfully fought this kind of guerrilla warfare to help our nation? So some would say there is no harm in asking for help. Would you be seeking the help of the so-called bigger nation in terms of military manpower and the technical know-how in fighting this kind of terrorism?
We will do everything that is possible. Everything that is possible,
including getting other countries of the world to help us,
including you mentioned issue of state security. I've said it repeatedly that if I have the opportunity, every state will be responsible for her own security. I'll make sure that the governors are given the powers to secure their states. Even if we have federal police there, they will be responsible and reporting to the governor. Additionally, the state will be allowed to have their own security system if they need be. We must secure Nigeria. We will do every other thing that is possible, which I'm not ready to disclose here, but it is one of those things, as I go around learning what to do, security is on top of my list. And I assure you that what we're going to do will be decisive. Most importantly, I will do so hands-on.
Would you also include hiring mercenaries? Some governors in the northern region of the country have said, we could use the help of mercenaries. Do you think that this is a viable option?
What I want to disclose now and share, what I said is that I can assure you, I said every option will be on the table. But I'm not ready to disclose my options now because you know it's a security issue. I'm not there yet, but I assure you that it will be, like I said, decisive and immediate.
All right, then. Let's move to some other issue. We'll get to talk about, we'll mix things up. We'll talk about policy, we'll talk about governance, and we'll talk about politics as well. Let me ask you this. Vice President Atiku Abubakar said, you did not tell him before leaving the PDP. Is that true?
Yes, it's true. Let me tell you, Shehu, Vice President Atiku remains my respected elder brother. And what his comments is true. When I left the PDP, I did not tell him and other respected people in my life, including my family. There's a time in your life that you take a decision which you consider appropriate for your own future, that you just have to do it because you don't want people to talk you out of it. And this I did to the best interest of my future and in best interest of Nigeria. Recall that when I left PDP, I did say, I'd rather do the right thing and fail than do the wrong thing and succeed. And that's what I did. I took that decision in consideration that it does not in any way inconvenience or affect any other person except me.
So on a normal day, would you have, apart from the fact that you didn't want anybody to talk you out of your decision of moving away from the PDP, on a normal day, would you have spoken with him? Would you have seek his audience, perhaps ask for his permission or advice before leaving the PDP?
Not really. That's why respectfully, after 1 or 2 days taking that decision, I elucidated it in a written message to him saying I had to go because of the circumstances I found myself and where I found myself and what was happening to me and what I think is appropriate to do. And I know, knowing him, he respected my decision. And like I said, he remains my very respected elder brother.
Now, let's get some clarity in some of the things that you have done. There are accusations of how you got a ticket. Since you and I are speaking on this program for the first time after then, can you tell Nigerians and come clean to them about the process in which you got a ticket? Some people have raised a question mark about it. Perhaps some people even accuse you of buying your way through to get to the ticket. But I know the kind of person you are. You could clarify to us whether or not this is true.
So we have the freest primary in Labour. Remember, the frontliner in Labour Party was Professor Pat Utomi, who, before everybody, every delegate in that election, primary, resigned and said that he's stepping down since he has found that a younger person, more energetic, competent, had the capacity, is coming on board. It was an open primary, monitored by INEC, and the participation was free, fair, and credible. Everybody can tell you. And you know me. Of course, if you buy something or you paid money, there's no way you do money transaction in Nigeria that people wouldn't know. And I'm not one of those who do that.
I'm very sure you must have heard what the kind of the stories telling about you, that Obi will not pay anything. There are those even who said that one of the reasons that you left was that you were not ready to pay delegates. But those who said, no, that is hypocritical actually, because they are accusing you of actually paying some money. Did Obi pay anything? Because those who believe that Obi will not pay anything.
Well, I think we moved on. There's more critical issues in Nigeria now. I'm not a candidate. I've assured you I didn't pay anything to be where I am today. And I'm not a candidate, and I'm happy where I am. And we're not talking about, there's so many issues that are happening in the country today that we need to deal with.
Let's make reference also to what former Vice President Atiku Abubakar also said about you. He said it will be a miracle for you to win the presidential election. How would you react to this?
Well, so miracle is at the root of our faith. What strengthens our faith is miracle. For me, since I started this political journey, my achievements and records have all been miracle. Have all been miraculous. If you check, I ran for governor in a party that was less than 1 year old. When I started in 2003, I won the election. They declared somebody else. I went to court. Everybody said it's impossible. There's no way. It's never happened before. After 3 years, the court declared me the winner. I was sworn in. 6 months, I was impeached alongside Fayose and Darie. I went to court. Again, I became the first governor to come back from impeachment. So I was the first governor to win through the court, first to come back from impeachment. And then in 2007, about 1 year in office, INEC conducted the election, and Andy Uba won and was sworn in as governor. I went to court again to seek the interpretation of our constitution that my tenure is 4 years. Everybody said it will never happen. Again, the Supreme Court declared me the winner, which is why you have staggered election in various states today. So I became the first governor to seek interpretation of the constitution. On tenure of the governor, I became the first governor. In Anambra State, over a period of 40 years, from Jim Webber days in old Anambra State, I was the first governor to serve 2 tenures. I can go on and on and on and tell you so many things that have happened in this my journey that one can say is a miracle. And I'm looking forward to the next miracle next year to complete the miraculous journey of my political life.
So again, Mr. Atiku Abubakar also said that your popularity is only on social media, that 90% of the northern voters are not on social media. Do you think that his position is a true picture of the state of Nigeria's politics, and how would this affect your chances?
Well, I agree with him what he said. It's one of the problems we are going to solve after my miraculous emergence, to deal with the issue of educating those, if it's true that 90% that are not on social media, what you need is to, I was saying that I was going to invest in education. We need to educate them. We need to ensure that they equip them, because the population is mentioned is actually the teeming population we need. When I say the North, the vast land of the North is our next oil, this is the population that I need to be able to turn that asset into production. They are the assets I need for the factories. Processing factories are going to be located in Kaduna and Kanu to be able to produce those agricultural products, to process them for export. So, yes, we'll deal with it, but I assure you that we're not just on social media. People are also listening to us and they know we have something to offer. And I'm sure that's what he wants to do as well. These are people we all need to educate and help.
So one big question here is the win. There was a huge win of support beyond your cell, especially that of your party, towards the Osun governorship election. And Obedient were very vocal. I call it Obedient, these are your supporters. That is what they are being tagged. In and out of social media, you could hear that huge support for Peter Obi and the Labour Party. Only if that could materialize to the kind of vote your party could have garnered at that election. How come your party did not perform well in that election? That support did not materialize. Why?
So there was no huge support in Osun as we were going into that election. Let us be realistic. What you saying that people are obedient, you know, Osun election and Ekiti election is an election that have been planned months. I've been in the Labour Party less than 6 weeks. The candidates that emerged months before I even got involved. The elections were on then and everything. So there was no way that would have translated overnight. 2023 election is totally different. I remember election these days, people are now voting for candidates, for the persons involved. I had been to Ekiti, for example, before the election and campaigned for the PDP candidate. I had been to Osun before when I was the aspirant in PDP and campaigned for the PDP candidate. So those elections cannot be used to compare for anything. And there was, yes, I went there because we are participating in that election, and in fulfillment of our obligation, we were there. But to say that it would have my popularity would have translated overnight would have been not fair to.
For People's Democratic Party in Rivers State has dragged the Independent National Electoral Commission before.
Yeah, I will just play on that video right now. It'll be meeting the entertainers, you know, in Lagos. I'll just play it. Let's watch it. As you watch, kindly share this. I'm just campaigning. I'm playing this video so that people will hear it and know who Peter Obi is. Okay, it's part of the campaign. So let me just play this video and then as you watch, kindly let's make it happen. Okay, let me just play this now.
As an interactive session between the industry and the presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Mr. Peter Obi. According to the former Anambra State Governor, the rising spate of unemployment in the country could be effectively contained if the entertainment sector is given enough support by the government. He says his government, when voted into power, will tap from the performing arts industry for a greater Nigeria.
At least it's an official that a governor in this country said, I belong to Nollywood. And I accepted it. And I told him, that's where I belong. You know, and I'm happy to belong there. Because these are the places we intend to tap. to build the new Nigeria. You are the future.
Obi advised the entertainers to rise above ethnic or religious sentiment in electing the next leaders of Nigeria. He says there is no ethnic group in the country today that has not had its fair share of the challenges confronting the nation. The presidential hopeful added that Nigeria has all it takes to be greater than what it is, but successive poor leadership has cost the nation its potentials for greatness. For him, the next election will be the first time that Nigerians will choose a president born after the nation's independence.
What is happening here has to stop. We want to build a new Nigeria. A new Nigeria is possible. And I say to everybody, this election is an existence election. Like I said where I was coming from now, it's the first election that will be a generational change. Up until now, Nigeria has been ruled by people who were born before independence. This is the first time we have a party where the chairman, the presidential candidate, and vice presidential candidate are born after independence. It's never happened in Nigeria before.
Yeah,
Although there was plenty of entertainment in the atmosphere, the event was far from just a dinner entertainment. It was put together as an interactive session between the
before I play the old video of his interview, just to show who he is. Then now I'm playing the video of he met with these entertainers 2 days ago. So I'll be playing on that video now with Channels Television interview, the one he had today. Okay. So as you watch, I'm campaigning. I'm using this is my medium of campaigning. Those who are here out there, I want you to know that we have someone that you can trust. Peter Obi, that's who we can trust. Okay. So as you watch it, share it, and like, share, follow our Facebook page, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and let's make it happen. So I said, vote Obi, that Papa Mama Pikin. That is the logo. Papa Mama Pikin. Okay. LP, Labour Party. So let's make it worthwhile. Let me just play the other video. The video will be playing right now is a bit long, so just watch it. And let's do the right thing, okay? Let me just play it now.
Election will be the first time that Nigerians will choose a president born after the nation's independence.
What is happening here has to stop. We want to build a new Nigeria. A new Nigeria is possible. And I say to everybody, this election is an existence election.
All right, guys, so let me play it now, right? It's an interview we had today with Channels Television. Okay, I mean, when you hear from him, you know what he really wants to do for our country. Okay, let's listen to him. All right.
There are problems, and being able to promise them of better times to come.
Interesting. Is there anything in particular that you have called yourself a trader? But I mean, you perhaps know, since you say you're a trader, you perhaps know the circumstances around trading in Nigeria. And when you visit these markets, there are communities of people who are interested in commerce and small and medium scale enterprises. Is there anything in particular that you have in plan, part of your manifesto agenda, should you be elected as Nigeria's next president, for these medium scale and small scale businesses?
So the greatest employer of labor, the greatest productive area in any economy I've studied is micro, small, medium enterprises. You can go and take a study from various countries, even in first world countries, talk less of third world countries. The countries that the people use as exemplary today, and I always go for the ones with big numbers. from China to India to Indonesia, all of them are their economy are all driven by this sector. In a country like Indonesia, almost over 90% of the businesses are in this sector. In terms of employment, they are creating over 70% of the employment. In China, over 60%. In terms of productive exports, everything, in China, over 60%. Indonesia, the same thing. Similar situation in Vietnam. These are countries that are doing very well today and are very productive and export geared. So I believe that you need to study, listen to this section, because they will propel what we want to achieve. And for me, the commitment is to pull people out of poverty that is measurable. What governments in Nigeria have not done in the past is to look at when they come in, where they are standing. For example, in 2012, our unemployment is about 10%, between 10 and 12%. Today it's 33, 35.
So, I mean,
our monetary poverty was 55 million, 33%. Today is about 40-something% at 95 million. Of course, our multidimensional poverty has then increased to 133 million. So these are things you need to say, if in 2023 a new government comes in, we need to draw a line. This is where we stand. And start implementing those things you think that can start reversing the situation and reducing something like our poverty, unemployment, inflation, in an organized, measurable way that people can feel it.
Mr. Obi, I'd like to know, with your experience trading and some of the figures you have reeled out tonight, I know there are loads and loads of markets and commercial hubs across the country. In your own Anambra State, your home state, you have the Onitsha, which is a major market. You also have another one where your brother, Senator Uba, is from. His own village or town also is a major market. Now, you go to Ariaria Market, Aba Market in Abia State. These are major commercial hubs. And to Lagos, Alaba International Market, Ladipo, spare parts, computer village, where almost every solution or almost every problem to your tech problems can be resolved at a computer village. But most of these markets are not standardized in terms of the trade and the manner in which they engage their consumers, and perhaps the opportunity to even export. Now, I was reading earlier the possibility of Jamaica even taking cars from Innocent Motors in Anambra State to Jamaica. This is some good news. Is there any plan that you're thinking that all of these markets will be standardized and to be ready for international trade of some sort?
So, it is the government. It is the physical support of the government that makes it possible for this, not markets, but the micro, small businesses I mentioned, to be able. I've said what we're going to do when we talk about moving from consumption to production. I said we will ensure first that we deal with the issue of security of life and property. By securing the country, we will be able to take back our farmers back to farm, increase the agricultural production, because our food lands that are not producing today. With that, we will supply our industry and make them export-oriented. And that comes to where you're going to take this market by ensuring that what they're producing in terms of manufacturing and everything is export-oriented. For example, I was in Aba last Friday, and I did mention to them that in 2021, our oil exports, for me, is an average of about 15 billion. I don't have the accurate number. But that in the same year, Vietnam exported footwear of more than that figure. It's about 17, 18 billion. And in Aba, we have about 60,000 shoe of footwear makers, shoe makers. And they're just 30 to 50 kilometers away from the sea in Port Harcourt. And I'll support them, give them access to export. This is critical. We have in the same Aba area people who are involved in tailoring and all sorts of clothing, garments manufacturing. And both Vietnam and Bangladesh exported clothing more than the entire Nigerian export in 2021. Our entire export in 2021 was 18.9 trillion naira. Vietnam did about 32 billion worth of clothing exports. Bangladesh was about 36,000. If you divide our 18.9 trillion naira with 650, by this I put an average of your official rate and your black market rate, and do some arithmetic, which I say is the average rate I can give it. If you divide it by that, my average rate, it comes about $30 billion. That's what your entire export is. So both countries did more in clothing than your entire export. And you have so many people who can be involved in that section of trade for export. Imagine if we're able to earn such money in export today. Imagine if we can increase our footwear export. Imagine if we can do more on agricultural export, food export and everything. Shehu, by the time you combine and support it with your oil and gas export, you will increase your reserve, which will drive your rates. You'll be able to bring this rate we're talking about from the size of today to a manageable level. And there will be foreign exchange available for inputs, machineries, and other areas which will help to expand our economy.
Let me take on a few issues. I'll come back to the issue of the economy because there's so much to talk about that, and even the security, human capital development. When you went to Lagos for the rally on Saturday, your critics and the opposition came out to criticize your inability to visit the traditional rulership in Lagos, and they have drawn a lot of inferences on that issue. Was there any reason why you are unable to visit them, just like is almost customary that when presidential candidates are going to major cities, they go and first pay homage to traditional rulership in those communities? What exactly is the true picture of things?
Sharon, I've lived in Lagos for a long time, and everybody knows that I have the utmost respect for Oba of Lagos, and I've always done so to every other traditional rulers. My royal fathers have for me, they are my fathers, and I respect them. Wherever I go for rallies, I've been to 36 states of the Federation. It is usually the local people that organize our rally and tell us where to go. And everybody knows that on my arrival in Lagos, I did ask that I want to visit the Oba, whom I regard as a father figure anytime, anywhere, you know. And this is not the only place it happens. I've been to a few states where the emir, the obi, or the Oba was not readily available. So mine is to apply to visit them on a new date. This is not the only place. But you know, people, when they're looking for you or they want to go, they try to capitalize in one way or the other. Some even said, oh, like he refused to see me or didn't want to see. It's not true. The truth is that when we arrived, we wanted to do what we used to do, arrive and drive to the palace and see the Oba or the Emir, and we're told he is not readily available, you know, that we should apply and come at some other date. And that we intend to do because he remains a highly respected father to me and to the entire nation. And that we will do. So there's no issue with that.
So if I get it clearly, Mr. Obi, were you able to personally reach out, or are you willing to do that, to reach out to make this clear to the traditional institution in Lagos?
I would do that. I would do that. Shane, I said it's not the only place. There's other states we have visited that we are not able to see the traditional ruler. There's so many places. Even when I visited Imo, you know, I've not been able to see the traditional rulers in Imo State. So I can tell you there's so many places in the north that I went, the emir was not readily available, you know, and we're not, it is not an issue.
Something that wasn't very pleasant happened in Lagos on Saturday, where we saw some of your supporters being attacked. Give us an understanding of what happened. Have you taken that matter up? What really went on? What is the casualty level? What are you hearing? What did you tell the authorities?
Well, Sharon, I left that. I've expressed my concern, which I'm sure you've read, and I've appealed to all that are involved. Let's have very peaceful campaigning, peaceful election. Our desperation should be on how we can get Nigeria working for all Nigerians, especially the poor, suffering masses, and not for us to be desperate about continuing with our transnational politics, but desperation on how we can start turning around the suffering of Nigerians. Our party, Labour Party, have taken that on, reported it, while appealing that such should not continue.
So, staying with what happened in Lagos, there were peace accord and signing agreements with the peace committee that politicians and political parties will conduct themselves in a very peaceful manner. What is the implication of what happened in Lagos? We've seen some of these things also happen in some other states. What are your biggest fears about these kind of violence that happened? Much of those verbal violence are happening on social media, but it seems to have gotten out of the social media on the streets of Nigeria. What are the implications and what is your biggest concern about this?
So for me, even the verbal ones on social media should not be there. We don't need to have any form of abuse or accusation, false accusations, anything. For me, it should not exist. Physical or verbal, social media or otherwise, we should have election that is based on issues, campaign that is based on issues, discussing our problems. Nigeria have huge, enormous problems that are besetting it that we should occupy our campaigns with. You can't have a situation where you're the poverty capital of the world, one of the most insecure places on the surface of the earth. Your primary health care have collapsed. You're now 168 out of 170 something or 178 on medical WHO health numbering. So there's so much we can talk about. There's so much that should be a problem. Our human capital is very low, and everything. Your youths are every day looking for a way to leave the country because of sense of hopelessness and everything. So these are things that should worry us. Not the issue of any form of verbal attack or physical attack, anything. I urge those who are my supporters, please do not engage in that. And I plead with other contestants to please plead with their supporters and those who are working for them to this and that. We have a huge problem. Let's deal with it. All I want is to get Nigeria to start working again for everybody.
I'll take you up on this your Lagos trip, and also you went visiting the Ààrẹ Ọ̀nà Kakanfò of Yoruba land, Gani Adams, where you told him about your plan of uniting Nigeria, and you made promise of restructuring. Some of your allies and some of your friends who are campaigning for you, like the Middle Belt Forum, Afenifere, the Pandef, these are some of the proponents of restructuring Nigeria. The manner of their own approach to the issue of restructuring, because by definition, restructuring now means different things to different people. If you look at the radical approach, the likes of Chief Adebanjo has preached about the issue of restructuring when he said, not only when Nigeria is being properly restructured before we can get the kind of the desired development. What do you mean? What is the Peter Obi's concept of restructuring? And if you really mean it, how soon or how fast are you hoping to get down to the ground and get this issue of restructuring working? Should he be elected president?
So Nigeria is already Federal Republic of Nigeria. So you first need to have true federalism, as is being practiced in other nations of the world. When we talk about the issue of restructuring, we're talking about trying to, this is not going to be something that I'm going to do by presidential fiat or this. It is something that we all need to sit down and talk and go through the process of rule of law in doing that. But I can assure you, we need to restructure. We all have factor endowment that will make the country work. Some of those who are even against restructuring, or even have fear of restructuring, will benefit more. For example, I've always said it consistently, the biggest physical assets of Nigeria is all cultivated land in the north. We can make more money, far more money than we earn from oil or gas from agriculture, if we do the right things. We say we live on 923,000 square kilometers of land, which the vast land, arable land, are in the north. And we're 200 million people. Tiny country like Netherlands that have just live on, without water, live on 33,000 square kilometers of land, which if we were to donate land to them, minority from Nigeria, we remove 33,000 from our 923, so we will still have 890,000 left. If we were to give them, even human beings, they are 17.4 million in population, and we are about 220 actually. So we give them, still have 200 million people left. The agricultural export in 2021 is 103 billion euros, about $120 billion. That is 4 times our entire export when you divide 18.9 trillion by 650 naira, because your parallel market today is about 750. So you find out that it's 3 times your entire export. And you have that vast land that is uncultivated. So for me, that vast land can give us far more than we're earning from oil today, and cultivating it is something that I'm focused on. I want to put people out of poverty, especially in the north, by ensuring that we put in the resources that will ensure that that vast land is cultivated. First, that will feed ourselves, which will drive down our inflation, because the worst contributor to our inflation today is food inflation. 2, will lead to manufacturing and lead to export, which will in turn, like I said before, increase our reserve and drive down our rate of exchange. These are things, restructuring will come. Then those from Niger Delta today will be able to use the resources that we're going to generate from further production of oil and gas area to be able to develop, clean up the environment, bring them back to agricultural and other food productive areas like fishing and everything. There's quite a lot we can do if we do the right things.
So
I keep saying that.
Yeah. If I may quickly jump in and ask you, Mr. Obi, there is the 2014 confab. What would you do with that report? Are you going to consider it at all? If you're not, are you considering, because you're talking about unity, on what forum are you going to have a unity conversation should you win the election?
I tell you, I'm going to bring everybody to the table. When I talk about uniting the country, you need to give everybody a sense of belonging. Serve them by ensuring justice, fairness, equity, and everybody being involved. We're going to sit down with everybody, including agitators and everybody, to discuss. And that's why I'm visiting everybody and telling them, let's unite. I look forward to serving in a Nigeria where, few years after, no Nigerian will ever say, I'm from the north, east, or west. But be proud to say, I'm a Nigerian. We must have a Nigeria where Nigerians want to celebrate Nigeria. And that's why we've selected a strong team where the 3 most critical persons in our party and candidacy are all all of us are people born after the independence.
So let me take you up quickly. I'd like you to clarify a few of these issues. There is this issue of 2 billion naira to clergies. What do you have to say to respond to these controversies?
So you know me very well. I don't even have 2 billion naira. Talk less of giving anybody 2 billion naira. What am I giving them 2 billion for? They are clergies. They should be praying for the country. They don't need money to pray. I haven't even, everybody knows me and the church and everything. So I believe that the clergies also have a problem. Their followers are suffering. So they want good governance. Why will I give them money? They should give me money to be able to support me in terms of being able to run around for my campaigns and everything, because my going around for campaigns, I have to pay for transport, I have to pay for this. So if anything, the clergy, I expect them to give me money, not the other way around. So I've never knowingly gone to any clergy. I can comfortably tell you that I've never given any clergy. I've never given 1 naira to CAN. Not 1 naira. And if anybody can trace 1 naira, give him by P2B to CAN, I'll stop running. I can't. Say I have an allergy for money being wrongly spent. I can't give people who are supposed to be paying money for what? They should be the one to do that, because their job is very simple. They need to pray for a better governed Nigeria. They need to pray for a new Nigeria. All right. Let me take you here to another quickly, because I have a whole lot to ask you. Did you hear, it's been in the news, that some leaders of the Labour Party in the Southwest have since dumped the Labour Party and support for you. And this is what is said in the news today, quote, Peter Obi lacks the clout to win. How do you react to this? Or how does... So, we are not talking about this brand of politics is politics of yesterday. So I don't want to be trapped in process of yesterday. Those who think about yesterday and today will miss tomorrow. So I'm committed to a new Nigeria. That new Nigeria is not Nigeria where you do all sorts of gimmicks that are practiced yesterday. I'm talking about, let's discuss what will take Nigeria out of its present predicament. Not issues of yesterday. This is the politics of yesterday. It's a transactional politics. I'm not in transactional politics. I'm not in it where you have to carry people or do this. I'm talking about, what do we do to build a better Nigeria, where the young youths of Nigeria will be gainfully employment. So our unemployment, I told you, have moved from 10.something% in 2012 to over 30%. That is 300 times. So we have a country where our debt in 2012 is about 10 trillion. Today is 44. If you add ways and means, it's almost 70-something trillion. That should be what is worrying us. Not that one Mr. Obi from Oka or somebody from here have left the party and joined another party. Anybody can join anything he wants to do. I'm concerned about, how do we save the country? Our ways and means as of 2012 is under 1 trillion. Today it's over 23. And so you're talking about people saying Obi has the clout. Which clout? So again, let me go in that same trajectory. It does look like some of these things are perhaps testing the resolve of your campaign and the trajectory of your campaign council. For example, we're hearing that
some labor union in Kano have collapsed their structure. We understand that early in the day that the labor, the NLC and its other labor sister organization are working for the Labour Party, but it does look in one or two states they already are leaving the Labour Party and working for other political parties. How does this come with you? There is another leadership of the NLC. You were talking with the NLC leadership under Ayuba Waba. What has happened to the Nigeria Labour Congress and the TUC support which you got? Has that gone into the wind right now?
So if there's anybody who, if there's one group of people who are at the, call it, who are suffering most in all this, the labor, in terms of TUC, NLC, are all part of it. So my concentration is, my desperation is a Nigerian that is working for all. A Nigerian where things are today, so your country does not have strong disposable, or call it local middle class that can afford to say they exist. The demand, local demand is weak because of inflation, because of unemployment, because of this. This is what should be worrying everybody. I've looked at various sectors. This morning I was discussing with somebody. Woman said, in Nigeria, despite that the road is not safe, so people don't travel by road any longer because of safety, that even our flights passenger volume is still under 10% of our population. And they are repeat passengers. So the numbers of, so we have less than 18 million traveling by air. And I compared it with some other countries like Brazil, and the number is over 50%. So, Cheryl, I'm looking at the economy. I want us to put people out of poverty. I want the country to work. Not looking at all this, oh, maybe this person supports me or that person supports me here. What are we going to do to put people out of poverty? That is my preoccupation. What are we going to do to ensure that out of school children, those people, especially in the north, who have not had the opportunity of going to school, who have learned Quran, how can we meet them at the point where they're learning Quran and teach them skills so they can be employed? How do we ensure that all those industries in Bompai, in Sheridan 1, in Kanu, Sheridan 2, 3 that have collapsed come back alive? How do we ensure that all the companies that are collapsing in Lagos come back to life? How do we ensure that we develop our ports to be more efficient and not contribute in businesses collapsing, rather become more efficient and a tool for business upgrade, for creating more jobs, because we're going to have transshipments through our ports. We're going to have, through our airports, we're in the middle of Africa. How are we going to become a transshipment and hub of both air and sea? These are things that should be worrying us. Not that, I said it again, that Shehu left PDP or APC or Labour and join TYZ, whatever you want to go, Sharon, you're free to go there.
Mr. Obi, I had an interview recently with the presidential candidate of the NNPP, Senator Robbie Kunkunso, who, in his own view, he sees you as someone who doesn't have a base and you don't have the kind of structure that can win election. All of the ideas that you're talking about tonight, or you've been talking to your supporters about, can only come to fruition if they give you the opportunity to be Nigeria's next president. And you have been described by your opponent as a social media favorite, and that your supporters are in the air and not on the ground. A lot of your supporters and those who have not made up their minds tonight are watching. How do you convince them that you have the kind of structure or what it takes to win this election? You have been saying that in fact, you have been said that you will come a distant third. Your opponent said you might come fourth. These are some of the permutations. What are you reading? What gives you the assurance that you can win this election, Mr. Obi?
Sharon, when you started your program this evening, you said that Peter Obi visited the market and people came out in their numbers. And you saw the numbers. The numbers are physical. You know, when I started, they said the 4 people tweeting in a room. Now they're saying, I don't have the structure, I don't have the number. The numbers will be determined by the voters. My biggest structure, I've said it, is the Almighty God, followed by the people of Nigeria, whom I'm pleading with, let's build a new Nigeria. A new Nigeria is possible. And I'm committed to it. And I've said, hold Dati, Baba Ahmed, and Peter be responsible for that new Nigeria, where Nigeria will be secured, Nigeria will be united, Nigeria will move from consumption to production, where there will be rule of law, regulatory environment that will attract investment, where we'll fight corruption to its minimum, because 2 of us are coming from a background where there's a consistency in the past, there's a track record.
Mr. Obi, what is your own view, or how do you situate things? This is one of the things that has been said about you. When you promise and you are said, you come out to say, look, hold me responsible. I'm going to turn around this country. And you've been criticized. There was the interview I had with the former governor of Lagos State. Amongst those who are running for president, who are in the front running, yourself, the NNPP presidential candidate, the APC presidential candidate, you are former governors, 2-term governors. Now, and in that sense, Mr. Fashola was saying, making reference that it was only Tinubu that has a record or track record that is being copied by other states. Now, when you said that you were going to turn things around, there are those of your opponents who have criticized you to say, look, Mr. Obi may not have a full understanding of the workings of the federal government, that things are more complicated than he thinks, and you have promised that things will not be as usual. You will change things. How difficult have you learned that things are in the federal government or running the nation or being a Nigeria's president? Are you hoping that there might be some surprises that you get into office to learn?
I don't think there's any surprises. I don't think there's anything that's complicated. You know, I don't think so. That was what they were telling me when I was going to be governor. They said, oh, you've never governed before. You've never been a civil servant. You don't know how civil servants work. Civil servants are the most difficult people to work. Civil servants are thieves, teachers are this and everything. I can tell you, Sharon, I worked for them for 8 years. I do not see all those things they are being accused of and anything. They became partners in progress. It was, for example, let me use education. Sharon, despite the fact that I started in 2006, which was 6 years clear from the time Millennium Development Goals started. By the time it was concluded in 2015, we were number 1. And I started late. And that was the only measure of development within the said period that I was in government. Anambra State was number 1 in Millennium Development Goals. We're number 1 in education. We did a lot of work, good work in health and in pulling people out of poverty. And you can go and ask people like Dr. Magnus Buckle that was in charge of pulling people out of poverty. So I don't see anything when people say this. I don't know where the surprise is going to come from. The only surprise for me is surprise that we're going to do things that people won't believe it's possible. We're going to surprise people. That's the only surprise. The only surprise is pulling people out of poverty that people think is impossible, managing our resources more efficiently. The only surprise is that we shut down corruption. The surprises we're going to spring up with, but not surprises of the country worsening. It will be surprise of the country progressing.
We are just about 60 seconds to our next break, Mr. Peter Obi. I know you are in this race and you want to win it. There are those who believe that you may not have what it takes to win it now. If you think that you can win it, with what margin, what are you saying? What is your mathematics and what is your calculation telling you tonight?
Well, Sheun, I've offered myself to Nigerians. You know, I'm not predicting anything. I've offered myself. I'm convinced that I remain in this race, that Dati and I are committed to a new Nigeria. And we're telling Nigerians, join us, let's build this new Nigeria that everybody will be proud of. Let us for the first time have a non-transnational government where those who are in government, those who are serving, are there to serve the nation, where public resources will be used for public good, where there will be rule of law, where there will be respect for everybody, where there will be justice, fairness, where there will be equity, inclusiveness, and all sections of Nigeria will be involved. Let's start building this in Nigeria. We're preaching. It is important. We want a government of the youths and women that works for all. And that's what I'm preaching. That's what I'm begging every day.
Just in our closing moment with you, poll after poll, it has been in your favor. How are you convincing your supporters not to get carried away?
Sheun, my commitment to this election, I've said it repeatedly, is to build a new Nigeria. I'm not the one conducting those polls. They're being conducted by reputable organizations. And now I'm telling my people that our commitment should be on our focus of a new Nigeria. The only way poll I look forward to is Nigerians going out in their numbers, peacefully voting, ensuring that this election is free, fair, and credible, and that all of us come together in love and start building a new Nigeria. So I look forward to a Nigeria where people will say, I'm a Nigerian, where we'll go out holding each other together in love. In sports, if there's World Cup, Nigeria is involved. In area of entertainment, that our young people who are involved in are doing very well. In areas of manufacturing, export, everything, the Nigerians start living a life that shows that we build a Nigeria will take its pride of place in Committee of Nations, attending meetings as members of G20 or G20, whatever it is, and be glad that this is our country. I look forward to that. That is when I will be happy with the polls.
Thank you so much, Mr. Peter Obi, for your time tonight. I know that you need to run for your appointment this evening. Thank you indeed for speaking to Nigerians on this platform. I appreciate it.
Yes, you heard it all, guys. I purposely played this long video so that you know that it's a serious issue. We got 12 days to go for the elections. Please, this is person we really need. He said God is our structure, and it's followed by the people. God is our structure, and we'll carry the day. Come February 25th, go out there, guys. Let's vote. Let's vote the right person. It will be the right person. Vote Papa, Mama, Peking. And don't leave. Make sure your vote is counted and be transmitted, okay? And build your phone, make it live, or be on Facebook. Relay all the counties, okay? And please, those in the diaspora, I always say, let your people back home know that a new Nigeria is possible. A Nigeria for our dream is possible, and we can make it happen. All right. Please, I would like you to share this video as you watch it. And then can you watch it? Share the video. It's important that people will hear and know what we want to do. In Nigeria is possible. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow our Facebook page, on our Instagram, our Twitter. Follow us, please. And thank you so much. I will see you guys tomorrow. God bless you. Bye.